Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And we are here to help you or help people you know dealing with addiction or dealing with the recovery from all different types of addiction. It's a major problem here in the country, and we've got somebody that's been through it, and believe it or not, is helping people with that recovery using horses. Her name is Kathy Slagter. Kathy, thank you so much for being here, and thank you last time for revealing your challenges with alcohol addiction, which lasted years and years and years. And I want to ask you, I know it's different for everybody. What was that moment where you realized that you had hit the bottom? You hit rock bottom and you needed to do something. When was that?
So many people say, that's got to be their bottom. That's got to be their bottom. I can even say to myself, if I ever went to jail, that'll be my bottom. If I ever went to the hospital, that would be my bottom. I luckily didn't go to jail, but I know a lot of people that have and got out and drank afterwards. For me, it was my health, but it took me 3 years in living a life of death. Really, I was on the road to death, and I ignored them. I got scared. I would Google things and say, oh, yep, that's alcoholism. But nope, wait, I got one thing over here that I'm still not doing yet. So I'm not an alcoholic. I searched so many ways to make sure that I didn't have to claim myself, as that alcoholic. So, bottoms are different for everybody. Like I said, mine was my health. I recently had somebody ask me, I'm coming on 10 years of sobriety, and, they said, what was your bottom? Why then? Why that time? Was it your reason? What was your reason? And, I think fear was it. I wanted to live, and I had to go through what I had to go through in order to get to my bottom. And I even had to go through it a couple times. There's people that get sober and go back and start drinking again or using again, or, we can even put health reasons like eating and overweight and, all those things. We get to a point where we help ourselves for a little bit, and then we just let ourselves go completely back. And, my bottom was my health. I wanted to live. And then once I started feeling sober again and being sober, I was not again really, because I wasn't ever really a sober living completely for a long, long time since I was 16 years old. But, I started to feel what it felt like to be present in life. That's, which is weird, because even though I was walking around, I was high or numb or something almost all, 24/7 in the last 3 years of my life. So I kind of forgot what it felt like to be present and have emotions and feel through them. They say that we go back to the age of when we started drinking. Mine was 16 and I got sober at 50.
Wow.
I got the 16-year-old brain going, what do I do with these emotions of sadness and happiness and, death? I went through that. And, what do you do with all these things? Celebrate. How do you celebrate sober? I don't know. Everybody's bottom's different, and you can't ever say that's got to be their bottom, because the person is the only one in charge of what your bottom is. And, I would like to shake a few people and say, this has got to be it. Please get sober. And, that doesn't help anybody. That only frustrates them even more. And, me trying to understand somebody else's addiction is difficult. And nobody could have told me that it was time for me to get sober and to shake me and to drag me into a rehab. I had to go when I was ready. Can you drag people in there, and can they get sober? Probably, but there has to be something inside of them that says this is it.
So I want to ask you a question. You said that you started drinking at 16, sober at 50. And by the way, your 10-year anniversary of sobriety is coming up. So congratulations in advance on that.
Thank you.
you said that you had to learn things all over again. So now, you come out of your situation. Now you're 50. What was that like, Kathy? Did I need to learn to deal with situations again. I need to learn to love again. All those things. Was it kind of a whole new Kathy that was part of the metamorphosis?
Yeah. I say today, I mean, at that time I didn't see it, but I say today that I feel like the old Kathy is the soul of her is over here and the new soul is right here. So I like that, become somebody that I was proud of. And if I can detach from the Kathy that I was, it's not that I'm detaching and saying I wasn't her. I'm detaching because I've healed those sides of myself. And as I heal them, I can put them away. I can, let's say we have a big box. This is somewhat of Gestalt, is you have a big, huge box. And what would you like to put in that box? And how can you close it up and put a big old piece of tape on it and say, I'm done with that side of me. I want to become somebody different. But the hardest part, Steve, was who do I want to be? I don't know myself as anything but this girl that relied on alcohol to get me to a space where I could get through something. So who is Kathy? Who do I want to be? What do I want to be? I'm 50 years old and I have to decide a whole new direction in my life. And
it's a great place to be in, but then a scary place to be in at the same time. Right?
Very, very scary. Yes, yes. I felt very alone, even though I had people around me, I felt completely alone. And, I had to start going to therapy right away. That was something that I did. I talked before about aftercare is really important when you decide to go into recovery, that you don't do it alone. You just don't face this very scary time in your life where everything you used to do is changed. Your friends, your best friend that you were with forever, you guys drank together. You can't expect her to stop. And I tried to be with those people while they drank, and I couldn't do it. That was really difficult for me. My husband drank. If you're work associates and they go out for happy hour, how do I deal with saying I can't, or how do I deal with going and doing that? Going out to dinner, just a quick little dinner. Let's go out for dinner. Okay, well then, I noticed that table over there, they just had 2 margaritas, and that table over there is on their third glass of wine. Oh, and that one's got beer going. My attention on alcohol was, I was focused. I could, there was no way you could just say, just go through lunch without having a drink. Okay, easy to say, but I can tell you who's all drinking. Let me tell you. Wow. I didn't notice the Cokes on the table, but I noticed all the drinks. And to have somebody at my table when I was new in recovery to have an alcohol bottle, I couldn't take my eyes off of it. So, I mean, everything you think, oh, you just stop drinking. That's all you do. No, there's so much more for somebody like me that spent years, 3-4 decades of my life, with that being a part of my life. Ever since I was 21, I don't think I ever went out to lunch, very, very rarely, and didn't have a cocktail at lunch or dinner or breakfast. I love my Bloody Marys, so.
And it's easy to, I guess, say to yourself, hey, it's a Bloody Mary. It's a breakfast drink. So I'm okay having that.
Yeah.
Guilt free.
Right.
Kathy, and by the way, we're talking with Kathy Slagter, who is somebody that helps people with addiction and recovery in connection with horses. And we'll connect with that in a second. Her website is, make sure I have this right, oneneighh@a-time.com.
Yep. Neigh, Neigh, horses nicker and neigh. So I say I like to live, today I have to live one day at a time.
Yep.
And then that's how I got One Neigh. My horses are such a big, powerful part, and Gestalt has been a powerful part of putting aside or putting away or healing. That's a big word, healing the sad and disturbed and I made a lot of mistakes when I was drinking, a lot that I don't, if I were to stay stuck in that shame and blame, I wouldn't have a very good outlook on my life. I would always judge myself, and you can't be in a space of judgment for yourself all the time. And I had to learn how to work through those things in my
At
recovery.
what part, Kathy, did you say to yourself, I don't need that drink? I'm good. I don't need that drink anymore.
I don't. Ugh. I'm not sure I can say that 100% today, even.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds crazy, but there's times in my life when I feel really stressed and overwhelmed, and I want it. I tell myself, like you said, I don't need it. I do know that today. I don't need it. So I guess I still desire sometimes that relaxation of
Yes.
a drink, um, the fun that I had with a drink, and how you would just, there's something about relaxing for me when I know that there's a cocktail in my hand. It just puts me in a different space. I remember I was at a wedding, and I was sober, and I was drinking out of a red Solo cup. So if any drinkers out there, you know that you put a lot of cocktails in a red Solo cup. And it made me relax in a way that I used to relax when I was drinking. That sounds so crazy, but my daughter even came up to me and asked me what I was drinking because of how I was standing and because of my relaxing posture. And of course, it was Diet Coke, but it's odd that these little things, like holding on to a glass of water in a wine glass, that can trigger my body to relax. So I had to figure out how to do that
Mm.
without the bottle, or without,
Yep.
without the wine glass, or without the red Solo cup too. So
Thank you for explaining that because it comes crystal clear. And I know, for a lot of us, we'll have a drink late in the day and it's that moment of like, day is over. I'm chilling out for a little bit. It could be the same having a cup of coffee. Some people equate that. I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to go to Starbucks. I deserve it. I'm going to have a cup of coffee. It makes me relax. And that's my mind connection with that beverage. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about how the horses can help you heal in just a moment.
have you ever wondered how a horse could help you in your recovery? Well, my name is Kathy Slagter, and I'm an equine master gestaltist. And what I do is help you find your passion and purpose in your recovery. My website is www.neigh@a time.com. And you may also contact me through email at Kathy with a K, ATHY, at oneneigh@a-time.com. Can't wait to hear from you, and I'll see you in the barn.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And we're back. We're talking to Kathy Slagter, who is somebody that's helping heal people with their addictions and their recovery. And that's through the help of horses.
What's this?
Probably have never heard of that before, but it's effective and it works. And let's get into that. We talked about that last time briefly, but how is that helping people in terms of their recovery from addiction?
I think a lot about this, how to describe how a horse will help heal a human. And I picture you. I just went to Montana to see my daughter, and we went for a walk, and the scenery was so beautiful. And I seen the mountains and the snow-capped mountain, all those kind of things. It was beautiful. And I thought, if I were to take a picture of this, it wouldn't be as beautiful as being in the moment. So that's the difference. It's hard to really describe what happens when you are in the round pen with a horse, and your body starts to relax. A lot of times I ask you to start talking. So I'll ask a question, and let's say what can I do to have fun again? Let's say that. What can I do to have fun again if I'm not drunk? If I'm not drinking, if I don't have that with me? So the person might be, talking about, oh, I don't know how I can ever do this again. The horse might not be paying attention or anything. And then, for me, I remember I seen somebody, I'll say this, I seen somebody start talking about painting, something that they did when they were younger, but in their drinking years, they let it go, for maybe writing or a sport or something like that, that you used to really, really love, but you let it go because of your drinking. Well, they might start to think that, God, I used to love to paint. And then their minds will get involved and tell themselves, no, that was a long time ago. That was a kid that I painted, and I would never be any good in today. And the horse doesn't recognize that, but it recognizes the heart part, the emotion of painting. You don't even have to say it out loud. You can just think to yourself, I want to paint. And then the horse will start to come to you. And I can recognize that and see the horse come to him and say, what were you thinking? And what in that moment the horse came to you, why that moment? And then they'll bring up what their mind told them not to say out loud. I used to paint. I used to really love to paint, but I put it away. And then we can start talking about what it would take to paint, and is that something that they really want in their life? And the horse then stays with them and supports them. So the part about the healing of the horse is they can heal our bodies. They can relax our bodies, as I said. But they also clean up some really bad energy that we have inside of us. And they show me, they're my co-coaches. So I work with them. They don't work for me. I work with them. And they show me when your heart really feels pleasure or a purpose start to draw up inside of your body. And that's when they're powerful, because I would have never known that woman was thinking about painting unless the horse came to her and recognize, and then I can say, hey, what were you thinking about? So that's like a little spurt of it, but that's
Sure.
an example of, how a horse can change your thought process. They can bring your thoughts out in the open, and you can say it out loud.
It's amazing how they pick up on your energy and they transfer their energy. I never realized that that's how it worked. I just thought that, horses were majestic, and it just, their presence made you feel better, but there's a lot more deeper than that.
Oh, there's a lot. I remember fun. I'll stick on the fun thing too, is, I was in the round pen with a horse when I was first in recovery, and I had to be coached in order to be a coach. So I had to heal bits and pieces of my background in order to help somebody else heal their bits and pieces of their background. So I remember one of the very first things I did was, I told my coach, which is Melissa Pierce from Touch by a Horse, that's a program I'm certified under. And I told her that I didn't know if I'd ever have fun again. I felt like fun was gone from my life. And I was even afraid to laugh, because laughter made me feel like people thought I was drinking again. Just like I said with my daughter, she saw me laughing and comfortable, and she had to come, test out my drink. So I was almost afraid to laugh, and parts of me didn't even know what it felt like to laugh without being drunk, or a buzz on, as they say in drinking world, with a good buzz on. So I had to learn what fun was. Could I have fun again? So, that's when I had to sit and start and explore what was fun. What would it be like and feel like to be funny? Am I funny? And, I can be funny when I was drunk, but can I be funny sober? Can I tell a couple little jokes and laugh at myself? As I was talking all this stuff, I had a horse. I wasn't really paying attention to what the horse was doing, but I would go to the drunk side and start talking about how easy it was to drink. And I loved just belly laughing. And then the next morning, you wouldn't even know what you laughed about. It wasn't even something you remember. It just came easily to you. And then I'd go over to the other side, which is my sober Kathy side, and start talking about, all these things I have to learn to do, but I feel really good about myself. And then I'd go over to, I start talking about the drunk girl that didn't feel very good about herself. She woke up every morning discouraged with who she was and where she went and, how she got home and things that she did when said and all that kind of stuff drunk. Then I'd go over on the sober side and say, maybe fun is different. Maybe fun is different. It doesn't have to be this belly roll, laugh at everything, humorous thing. It could just be joy and peace and calmness and knowing that you're a good soul today. And, the horse came when I was on the drunk side and literally put her face on my back and pushed me to talking, like, that isn't you. This side's, this side had bad energy. This is the energy that feels good and feels right and all that. And, I could talk to myself forever in it, but to have that horse tell me that this is where you need to be, girl.
Wow.
That was powerful. It was powerful for me. And, that is when I had to start really looking at what fun was and how important was that other fun.
What you're talking about, Kathy, and we're almost out of time, but whether you're going through recovery in an addiction situation, I think it's something a lot of us deal with, just life in general. It's full of challenges. If anybody says that, life is great, I have no problems, they're not being honest.
Right.
And, many times we might even look at ourselves and say, and it's kind of a cliche, are we having fun yet? Are you having fun? I mean, a lot of us deal with that, but just think about the layers on top of that, dealing with the recovery and addiction. Please tell everybody how you can help them, whether they come to your farm.
Yes.
Or not. Let's get into that real quick.
All right. So Zoom calls are really powerful. We can get to the basics of your life and, do some vision requesting, like, what do you want out of your life? A lot of people don't know that. So we can start discussing, what do we want our future to look like? What's exciting for us? And, all that can be done through Zoom. As you can see, just even talking to you, sometimes I feel like I'm in the room with you, even though we're a long ways away. And then in the arena is a totally different and more probably exclusive way to do it. But there's much that we can do one-on-one together as in a Zoom way, in a Zoom room like this, and, and then step into the arena. I've had people from Arizona, from Wisconsin come visit me. The airport's only 20 minutes away, 40 minutes away at the very, very most by the time you get off the plane and get to my home. And, I'd love to work with you. I love to help you let it go of all the things that hold you back from finding this, passion and a purpose in your life.
I've talked to a lot of people, some of them are friends that have dealt with addiction, and everybody describes it differently, like we talked about your bottom and what your bottom is. But for somebody, Kathy, where you admit that you were an introvert, your passion and your feelings come through so clear now that you're on the other side. It's amazing. And, thank you for being you and somebody there that's an advocate for people and helping to pull them along, whether it's with a horse, whether it's a Zoom video. Kathy's available to talk to you. Website again, one more time.
Yep, my website is www.oneneigh, Neigh, one Neigh at a time.com, or contact me with Kathy, Kathy, at oneneighatatime.com. Email me. I'm on Facebook too, and all different ways to find me. I love to post encouraging, positive things on Facebook every day too. So lots of ways to get in contact with me.
Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate it. I'm going to say 3 words, and this comes from your website. And we talked about it once before, but the back of one of your shirts as you're looking at one of those horses is let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Trust the process. That one too.
Thank you. Thanks, Kathy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.